Jordan. Reporters asking the Pentagon if it was an act of war. Deputy spokeswoman Sabrina Singh says Iran supplies its proxy groups.
We're not going to hesitate in calling that out, but we certainly don't seek a war. And frankly, we don't see Iran wanting to seek a war with the United States.
The Biden administration stops short of saying Iran directed the attack, which remains under investigation. So far, it appears the incoming attack drone may have been confused with a U.S. drone returning to base at the same time. The White House says the U.S. will respond.
We'll do that on our schedule, in our time, and we'll do it in the manner of the president's choosing as commander-in-chief. We'll also do it fully cognizant of the fact that these groups, backed by Tehran, have just taken the lives of American troops.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says the president is weighing his options after meetings with his national security team. 3 American soldiers were killed, all from Georgia. More than 30 others were wounded. Some Republicans in Congress criticizing the response so far as not enough after dozens of previous Iran proxy attacks targeting U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria and ships in the region. President Biden says he would shut down the southern border if Congress approves a bipartisan deal giving him new authority. But spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre isn't saying what a shutdown would mean as Senate talks continue on a bill facing an uncertain future in the House.
Speaker Johnson and House Republicans should provide the administration with the policy changes and also the funding needed to deal with the border.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says the president can take action without Congress to expand deportations and detentions. New records on Wall Street, the Dow up 223 at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 15% when you buy 4 or more Purdy paint products. And there's more. Save 10% when you buy 68 or more panels of select OSB sheathing. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location, while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
A public school system points to a migrant surge as they ask the public for help with supplies.
Denver Public Schools is running low on resources and supplies due to an influx of nearly 3,000 migrant children who've joined the Denver Public School system since July, a district that's seen about 100 new migrant students each week. Lily Zargoza, a dual language teacher at Denver's McKean Elementary, telling Fox News that class sizes have exploded and that supplies are running low.
Pencils, markers, all those basic things that we don't really run off, but this year we're running low on.
Asking the public for donations, a similar need that's playing out in school districts across the country amid the ongoing border crisis.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. U.S. airlines are adding flights for this year's Super Bowl with a special twist.
Major airlines are getting in gear to shuttle passengers to and from Las Vegas, the site of this year's Super Bowl, featuring the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers. The carriers are adding flights from the team's respective cities and other major hubs. In addition, some airlines are announcing flight numbers that offer a nod to Taylor Swift, who is dating Kansas City tight end Travis Kelce. United tells Fox Business Flight 2287 is an ode to the favorite Chiefs power couple. The number is a combination of Kelce's jersey number and one of Swift's songs. Also, American Airlines is adding 2 trips, Flight 1989, a nod to one of Swift's albums, and Flight 87, the number on Kelce's jersey, according to Fox Sports.
Fox's Hillary Barsky. Recapping a late rally to new highs on Wall Street. The Dow up 224 points, topping 38,300. The S&P closing above 4,900 for the first time, and the Nasdaq gaining more than 1%. It finishes at 15,628. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Champaign County Sheriff's Deputy Alex James, our Law Enforcement Official of the Month, brought to you by MX Electric.
Yes.
Well, how do you get the Unity High School resource officer with the kids every day, and why do you love that?
Came over to the sheriff's office here. So when I grew up, I came from Moreau Forsyth. At Moreau, I grew up with a school resource officer there. Still today, him and I are really good friends. We talk every once in a while and we catch up. But when I was in middle school, I met him and I just thought he was the coolest guy ever. So I always looked up to that position being really cool to me. And whenever me being at the sheriff's office and this position opened up, I was like, you know what? That would be really cool to do.
Because you admired a resource officer.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you might be having the same impact on kids today.
Exactly. So when I came to the sheriff's office, I saw it was a position available that we do. Being an SRO, I stepped in this position, thinking of the times when I was a kid, and it fulfills everything I imagined.
Awesome.
It is so cool.
Hey, what's up? It's The Drive with Dan Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Lante, Kyle Tosk. Some good football action yesterday.
Yeah.
Got that to break down as we go along today. The Kansas City Chiefs, yet again. Oh, boy.
Unbelievable.
Can't keep Taylor Swift out of the Super Bowl. Not even a show in Japan the night before or whatever. Yeah, I know. People are sick of it, but Patrick Mahomes is unbelievable.
I'm more sick of just the teams that are never any good. I don't know.
The Lions aren't supposed to win, so they'll find a way to lose. Is that what you're getting at?
I went on a Twitter rampage.
I saw it,
and
yeah.
I'm like, is it just like all of a sudden they just start dropping passes and I'm like, what is that?
That would be choking, I think.
Oh, I mean, so it's just every year is just a different person choke. It happens. It's just amazing to me. Like, I don't know. I got to get over that. I got to quit
Or bad
thinking about
luck.
that.
I mean, I don't know that Zay Flowers choked when he got the ball punched out of his hands at the 1 yard line
It
against
just
the
seems
Chiefs.
like those really good teams make those plays, and they do. And credit to San Francisco for for Baltimore. Gosh dang it, Kansas City for knocking the ball out of his arms, and then San Francisco just had some nice fortune with Detroit just coughing that thing away essentially. And I don't know. I just sat there and watched that, especially the Detroit game. I didn't really care about the Ravens Chiefs. I just watched that and had fun. I'm happy for Alec Reddy. He's got a chance to win 3 Super Bowls. That'd be the first Illini to ever win 3 Super Bowls if he gets that done. So I'm excited for him. And I don't mind Patrick Mahomes. I don't mind all of that. And Kelsey's unbelievable. A couple catches that he had early in that game just to sustain drives. And, the Chiefs just did it right. I mean, they decided we're going to give Baltimore the ball to start the game because we won it in the second half. And sure enough, they stop them on 3 downs, and then they march right down and score. And now all of a sudden you got all the momentum knowing you're going to get the ball in the second half. I don't know. It was a fun game to watch. I enjoyed that, but, was it that fun? After a while, because Baltimore couldn't do anything, and Lamar just throwing that interception in the end zone, triple coverage.
Triple coverage, yeah.
It's like, oh, my gosh.
It was a slog in the second half.
It was. It totally
Speaking of slogs, let's start here. Start on the hoop side. Illinois, a win over Indiana. You'll take that. It snapped a 3-game winning streak for the Hoosiers in the all-time series. They had swept it last year and then beat you in the Big Ten tournament 2 years ago. But, boy, it was not pretty. 70-62, Illinois. Indiana does not hit a 3. They made 2 shots outside of the paint all day.
That's unreal.
Malik Reneau had a nice outing for the Hoosiers inside, which is another big guy that's kind of put up some numbers against the Illini here of late. Illinois offensively, not great for most of the day, especially Terrence Shannon Jr., who was pretty bad. But they get it done. They get it done at home. Shannon makes some free throws at the very end. a runner in the lane by Justin Harmon, which he did in Evanston. You just couldn't get the stop to make that the game-winning shot, so to speak. But they were able to get those stops. Indiana didn't make free throws late. Illinois did. They win. There's a lot of ways to break it down and kind of get like the ultimate temperature of this Illinois team right now. I think even after a win, it's still kind of lukewarm.
Yeah.
But what do you make of that win for Illinois?
I think everybody didn't play very well. I mean, even Harmon, there were issues with him at times, and then he makes that big shot, which was huge. Luke Goody was shooting everything strong for a while, and then finally those started to go in. I'm not sure what happened to Gary A. I was watching it with a lot of friends in a local establishment, and when you're not hearing the game, sometimes you don't get the full storyline. And one of the buddies with me, one of my friends with me, Grant Baker, who's an assistant basketball coach in high school, he kept saying to me the first half, Gary A. is our most consistent player. He has been all year. And I couldn't argue that. I mean, Coleman has played really well of late. Terrence Shannon, we know, is amazing. But Gary A. just, has just consistently gotten you kind of close to a double-double each time. And then all of a sudden in the second half, the beer's flowing and stuff. And I just kind of wasn't paying. I mean, I was watching the game, obviously, very closely and getting upset. But I was like, all of a sudden, I'm like, is Gary A. in foul trouble? Like, what? Why is – I don't get that. It was just sloggy or whatever you want to call that. And I know there's an adjustment to getting Terrence back. He looks very tentative. And I'll start there with you, Derek, because I want to ask you that. I mean, you're there. You're watching it from courtside. Kyle, same with you. Is it more he's just trying to get his feet back under him, or is he just tentative and not wanting to kind of take over a game like he could before? Because something is different with him. And we've been through all the, I've told you about the mental side of things. I can't imagine carrying around what he's carrying around and then trying to succeed in anything in life, knowing in 8 months you might go to prison, but he looks tentative. I didn't think, I'll put it this way, Kyle and I both thought he'd explode Saturday. He didn't, and he was quite the opposite, and I know you wrote about that as well. Is he tentative, or is he just trying to get things back, or what's going on? Because he just doesn't. It's not even close to the Shannon that you remember.
Yeah, he's off for sure. It does look like he's in his head. There are times where he looks tentative. There are times where he tries to force the issue and try to get going, and had a couple of sloppy turnovers. He's settled for some 3-point shots that I know when they don't go in and they feel like settling,
right.
but it's still like he had a matchup
used to go in.
Yeah, like he had a couple of matchups. Going back and rewatching some of the clips where he's got Renew on him in a one-on-one, and he pulls up from three instead of trying to drive him. Where obviously you'd think that he has the ability to get by him potentially, or even just get to the free throw line. Because we know if he's in a one-on-one situation, usually number one, with so many fewer charges being called this year, especially in transition, he is good luck just trying to. You're going to get in front of him. He's going to plow through you, and they're going to call a block. And if he's shooting, he's going to the line. But then also, like, he had Xavier Johnson on him, and that should be usually a green light go, go right at him, attack.
Do whatever you want.
And sometimes here recently, that just hasn't been the case. He's passed it up. Pretty much the signature play that defines where Terrence is at, I think, in his headspace is like there was a long tap out or something, a second chance. He gets the ball, and he's waiting to give it back to Marcus Damask, who's a little bit further in the backcourt than he is. And he kind of extends the ball out but waits, and then Anthony Walker just takes it right out of his hands and goes the other way. It ends up getting fouled in the fast break. So I get that it's a situation where you're trying to reacclimate after not even practicing or playing for 3+ weeks, but he doesn't look confident and a lot of times not assertive. And when Illinois is not going in transition, he's not getting to the rim. So I think in general, Illinois' offense has kind of been stagnant, especially in that game.
Would agree.
Indiana had something to do with that. They had some size. They had the ability to double Damask in the mid post, the booty ball stuff, and they wanted Illinois to take threes. Illinois settled, I thought, for too many threes in the first half. Brad said today, I know we'll play what he said on Saturday, but Brad's like, I think we're passing up too many threes, which it depends. I think Coleman's done that. I think Quincy's done that.
There were a couple times they were hesitant to shoot that ball.
Yeah, for sure.
And there were multiple guys. And I would sit there and I'm like, shoot it. And they had good looks. I mean, Damask hasn't really pulled the trigger much on his three, and I don't know if he's in his own head about
another one, yeah.
The from the 3-point line. I personally think Indiana's better than you guys think, or at least Kyle. I think they're pretty good. I think they can be a pretty formidable team, especially when Ware's on the court and you're pairing him with Renew. That's a hard combination. And if Xavier Johnson, who hasn't been right all year, if he starts playing like he did against Illinois, and of course he had the Xavier game against us, and I'm telling you, that kid has got some talent, but he's just been, he's been injured. Then I think he was kind of self-imposed, not playing much after he got kind of the technical in the one game. So I've seen Indiana a lot. I think they're formidable. So I'm not listen, first of all, when that ended, I'm like, thank God we won. That's all I cared about. I didn't care if it was going to be the worst thing to talk about today. I was just glad to beat Indiana. That is the game I want to win every year more than any. And you needed to win that. You could not suffer another loss against a average team at home. You just could not do that. And when Indiana was up 7 or, just kind of maintained a 4 to 5 point lead, like throughout, through some of it, I was like, what is going on? Like, I know Illinois is going to rally. They're at home. Usually the home team rallies. Usually they put it away and win this thing. And they did, to their credit. But, man, that could have been ugly with a loss there. So, that said, I'm glad that Illinois got that win. But I think it hasn't been, what's the word I'm looking for? Flowing.
Right.
The last few games, and I'm not blaming all that on just Shannon is back with the team and they're trying to transition him back and everything. There's times Shannon isn't on the court for a long time and they still don't look great. I don't know. Is it that you're in the dog days? Is it that you're in the Big Ten and these teams kind of understand what you're doing? I mean, Brad's been around a long time coaching. Is this his 9th year? That can't be right.
Is it his 7th or 8th?
I was going to say, I thought somebody said 9. I was like, there's no way he's been here 9 years.
It's his 7th year.
Okay, 7th year. So he's been around long enough to where I'm sure there's tendencies that he has that other coaches understand. And just like Illinois knows with other coaches in the Big Ten, I don't know. Here's what I hope, Derek, and then I'll shut up. While you're transitioning Terrence back, keep winning these games. I don't care if they're ugly or not. And get yourself in position. I don't think they're winning the Big Ten. So get yourself in position to make a nice run in the Big Ten tournament and then really make a nice run in March. I want to be playing when March 1st rolls around. I want that flow of that offense back, and it's not there right now.
Right. No, and I think there's a number of different things that you can kind of point to and highlight what's going on. Number one, it's rare. It's a rare occasion where a team is a freight train through the entirety of the season.
Right. That's a good point.
And not to have the ebbs and flows and not to get nights where you just don't play well. And it's better to play like crap and win than to play like crap and lose. So Illinois, on a relative sense, it was a pretty crappy game against Indiana. You just are glad, number one, Khalil Ware was out. Number two, that Indiana decided to not make any threes in a game for the first time in 14 years. And you actually have to go back to 2010. That's the last time they had a game where they didn't make a three, but they were 0 for 9 in Champaign. I think that it was fun on the bright side, some irony on the I wrote about it, I tweeted about it. Our buddy Luke Goody from Indiana, not recruited, from a Hoosier family, parents that went to IU, a brother that goes to IU, an uncle in Trent Green that played quarterback at IU. They didn't really recruit him, and boy, could they use him because he made some big threes in that game, and Indiana now has been a team really since Archie Miller got the job at the front end of Brad's tenure as well. They've been a terrible three-point shooting team pretty much the last 7 years, and this year they get very, very little production from the outside there. But to flip it back to Illinois, I think scouting has something to do with it. Indiana had a full week to get ready for this game.
Good point. And Illinois is in the middle of playing a lot, aren't they?
They played 3 games in the span that Indiana played 1. So there was some of that. I know that might sound like excuse-making, and I'm not trying to make excuses from Illinois. I do think that Indiana's size, we talked about it going into this game, plays well to match up with Illinois because they're trying to hunt smaller defenders to get Marcus Damask matchups and whatnot. It just feels like Shannon, what he's going through, not being able to to acclimate him quite yet, or him just playing bad. I mean, he's just flat out not playing well.
No.
Is kind of messing up some of the flow, but I think in general, teams are figuring out what Illinois wants to do booty ball wise. And sometimes booty ball, like, let's call it what it is. It's isolation basketball.
That's what it
now,
is.
you play out of it. Like, if they keep you in a one-on-one, you're going to back down and have Damas shoot a turnaround or back them all the way into the paint. But if they want to draw a double and then play out of that on passes, on kickouts, Illinois has to be willing and able to knock down those shots when that happens. But it just feels like it's gotten clunky and stagnant.
Yeah.
And I think part of it, when Terrence gets back to playing at a level that we're familiar with, then I think that will obviously help. And I'm actually more concerned with what Illinois has done defensively recently.
Can I say one thing and then you move to defense?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
thought Indiana did a good job closing out on threes. I thought they did a pretty good job on that. I still think there were some threes Illinois could have taken. And somebody did say on the text line that might be why Quincy was sitting on the bench, couldn't make free throws, and he wouldn't take the three.
Yep.
The other thing, Derek, is the cuts to the basket that seemed so prevalent in this offense. The last couple of games have been taken away.
Yeah.
And I credit the other teams for that because I was shocked. I remember looking you right in the eye on this radio show saying, I can't believe they're able to cut like they have all year. I mean, it's not, look, it's a great pass from Damas. It's a great cut from, let's say, Guerrier. But it seems like that could be something you could shut down if you're a defense by just trying. You know what I'm saying? So I'll let you go back to the defensive side. But I did give Indiana pretty good credit for closing out. I thought they did a pretty good job of understanding what was going to happen next, and it seemed like they always had someone at the next pass or even the next hockey pass, as I like to say. And then if you notice, the last couple of games, there haven't been many dives down the lane for open layups and or dunks, and we'll get to the layups in a bit. Is it me?
Boy.
Do we just not make layups?
It's tough right now.
I've been
Finishing at the
complaining
rim.
about this forever. One of the guys I was with is like, well, those aren't exactly layups.
Yeah, I know.
They're at the rim shots. But
That's
I'm
why I
like,
say at the rim.
okay, well, I'm 6 foot, and that's a lot harder for me than if I were 6'8", and you're right at the rim.
Right.
They just don't. That's a tricky shot for them. And I don't understand why they're so bad at it.
I know most of them are contested.
They
You're not
are.
seeing very many uncontested blown layups.
That's true.
Although Ty, right out of halftime, they threw a perfect lob to him, and he just couldn't make it. I know there was a guy trying to contest, but it looked like it was one that should have just went in. So that's why I say at the rim. Layups, it kind of gets the connotation of like you're in the layup line.
That's
and,
true.
Oh,
That's
man,
true.
they've only made 12 of 36 of these? How? How is that even possible? But I'm not saying you're wrong by calling it layups.
No,
Literally
but
on
you're
the
right.
stat sheet it says layups. So it's frustrating because at the rim the last few games has been an issue. Just
It has.
point-blank range, not finishing.
And you know those guys know how to shoot those shots. So
I mean,
this
yeah.
might just be a deal where, I don't know, get the Tom Izzo football pads out, take a broom, and beat the crap out of them as they're shooting layups in practice. I don't know what
Some of it's trying to be too fancy or finesse. I feel like Coleman in particular stood out in the last game. I think Quincy at times as well, maybe like trying for an up and under or just
Good call.
instead of trying to just take it through contact. There was one where Coleman, this is going to shock you, but Coleman had an argument with the referee after he missed and thought he got fouled. But Gabe Cups, their 6'1" or 2"
Oh, yeah.
freshman point guards coming over on a rotation to contest, and Coleman like takes it and does like a, I don't know what.
I don't even know what I know
since you're
exactly
not
what
if
you're
you're watching
talking
me
about.
on YouTube, you're kind of like the wraparound, like the up, the hesitation and wrap around, and I don't feel like he got touched. But anyways, it instead of just going up there and finishing with strength and and physicality, so. I think there's some of that, and some of it's just luck. Like some of it is bad luck. Like the way that the ball was just rolling around the rim at Northwestern, and then just falling out.
Yep.
Like,
and Maryland here, same deal.
Yeah,
they went
so-
like 10 minutes without. Yeah, I think that'll sort itself out.
some of that'll just the at the rim luck will start going your way.
Agree.
Again, it's just one of those things.
It's weird. All right, defensively, you were about to talk about Illinois' defense, and I think you were going down a troubling path.
There have been some issues. This team was talking about, you go back to earlier in the season, could they be one of the best defensive teams in the country? Could they be the best defensive team that Brad has had at Illinois? And yes, you have a number of good individual defenders. Like Coleman is a legitimate, deserves to be in the Big Ten Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, consideration, race, what have you. I think Quincy's a pretty good individual defender. I think Terrence is obviously a pretty good individual defender, although of late, Terrence has really struggled at that end. Coleman looks like a stretch 4 having to play the 5, and it makes sense why teams are throwing it inside. I don't necessarily blame Coleman for that. Like, I think it's Illinois to try to get him more help, double team more often, have guards come down and swat at the ball, which it didn't feel like they really forced the ball out of Renew's hands until the last 5 minutes of that game. Then, of course, he ends up fouling out within that to help as well.
That's huge.
But for Renew to have 21 on 12 shot attempts, really owned a lot of the one-on-one matchups that he got. And here of late, whether it was Terrace Reed from Michigan, whether it was Julian Reese with Maryland, even Cliff Amori in the Rutgers game, even though Rutgers was horrible offensively, Amori scored it pretty well
really
inside.
Good. Yep.
So I think centers have hurt Illinois, and then their guard play, Bowie and Jameer Young, who are going to hurt a lot of people. But we talked about Illinois' ball screen coverage against Northwestern, which I thought was pretty poor. Xavier Johnson, although sometimes it's just one of those things, like a guy is due to play at his level versus the struggles that he had, but 14 points for him on Saturday. He had scored 12 combined in the 4 games before that. So I think some of it is Illinois not cutting off driving lanes well enough, not playing the ball screens well enough. And then if you get switches on to Goody and Damask, I mean, that's just – those guys aren't that fleet of foot. They're not that quick. I'm not trying to bash our guy here, but it's just one of those things that it's not ideal as far as that goes.
Luke's A+ for effort.
Yeah.
And just sometimes he's not able to – yeah, you're right.
Sometimes speed beats that. And that's not necessarily on him again. But I think that this has been a pretty average defensive team over the last month. They're capable of more, and I think they'll need that if they want to stick in this Big Ten title race or even just bigger picture, putting a team together that's ready to go on a run in March. They got to be more than just an average defensive team.
Well, let me ask you this, and then I know we need to take a break, and we've got some Brad Underwood as well. And, Kyle, I want you to respond as well. When things were going right, so when it ended with the Missouri game, when Illinois just pounded Missouri, and when things were going right for this team, both offensively and defensively, what was happening? I think defensively, Terrence Shannon was your best defender, obviously on the perimeter. And we would talk about it all the time in the sense that he would take – I mean, I can remember us talking about how he's doing this stuff on the offensive end at 22 a game and 7 rebounds, all the while guarding possibly the best player on the other team. And I think that is one area that is slow to come back for him. And it makes sense. I mean, it all makes sense. I'm shocked it's taken this long, honestly. But let's say that's going to correct itself with Terrence. And I think that was kind of the straw that stirred the drink, if you will, defensively. You had Terrence being able to shut down one of the best guys, if not the best guy on the other team, and then it all just kind of worked from there. I also think Kevin Willard did a hell of a job with Maryland in dissecting the idea that he wanted Coleman to have to defend the post. Mm-hmm. And I know you didn't hear that because you were covering the game, but it was on TV at halftime, or right after the game, I'm sorry. And Willard basically said, and I've said this 3 times so everybody's heard it, but he said he gave Coleman credit that Coleman is so good defensively, and it was coming off the Michigan State game where there's clips of Coleman guarding Tyson Walker.
Yep.
And it's like, well, how is he doing that? But it's essentially the idea that Willard wanted Coleman to have to defend only one spot and not all over. And that's something that's like, you got to be a more brainiac basketball guy than me to notice that, and I give Kevin Willard credit for that. And I think other teams now have seen that, kind of like when Purdue used Edey to guard Rogers. I think other teams now saw that. And I'm sure, look, I don't follow, Maryland or some of these teams as close as none of these teams as close as I do Illinois. I'm sure there's things Illinois sees that the other team is doing that they take advantage of defensively as well. But I just feel like when Shannon gets back to his A game, I think it's going to, we know, help offensively. I think, it'll help the transition game. He'll get going. How many times did he come down and score in transition? And it was like the next thing you know, you were on an 8-0 run, timeout the other team, you're up 10, everybody's in good shape and you're feeling right. Plus, he would knock down threes. And then defensively, I think when he gets back to his A game defensively, that he's able to kind of start it by saying, I've got this dude, I'm shutting him down, you guys do the rest of it. I don't know what the answer is with Coleman playing the 5, because I'm with you. I don't know that it's necessarily Coleman's fault because he's more of a 4, but you don't want Dane down there covering Julian Reese, I don't think. I mean, unless you're going to try to give him more time. But I think Brad, it seems, is okay with what's happening down on the post as long as everything else sorts itself out. Well, it hasn't sorted itself out like against Maryland and such,
right,
when Jameer Young was doing his thing, plus Reese was doing his thing, and Amori was doing his thing for Rutgers, but I think it helped with everybody else. So I don't know. I just think it's so simplistic. Lon said today that if Terrence Shannon gets back to his A game, Illinois is going to be a lot better. But that's kind of the breakdown of it, because I really, truly believe he is an offensive weapon that's ridiculous, but he's also a defensive weapon and also in transition. And right now I think all three of those are being hurt by him not, basically playing his C game for Illinois.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with all of that. I think that as far as the down low points, we've talked about it. I think that Brad wants to play the math game of if we don't allow any threes, which that was played out in a literal sense on Saturday. But if they hold to an opponent to very little threes with not helping off a whole lot, then you're probably going to be in a sense where, unless a guy like Trace Jackson Davis scores nearly 40 on you inside, you're probably going to be in a decent spot.
Got it.
That said, I would argue, why can't you do both? Why can't you double and then recover, or at least show help and then go back? And Indiana, you could give them like warm-up jump shots from 3, and they may not make 35%. That's just the way. That's how bad they are from the outside. So I think that for me, defensively with Illinois, what was going right? Yeah, absolutely. Terrence being a high-level defender. I thought him and Ty had done a pretty good job of disrupting backcourts.
Agree.
Save for FAU, who put up a lot of points. That was a shootout. You just scored more points than them. So, but in general, I felt like on the whole, those two were a pretty good duo to throw at backcourts. Yeah. That Coleman defending multi-positionally, versatilely, being able to switch. I think that's what the Big Ten does to you, though. And I'm sure it happens in other leagues, obviously. It's not like the Big Ten's the only league that has good coaches and good scouting, but you start to pick out different weaknesses or pick out certain things that stand out. And I think that it is make Coleman defend on the post. He is, as crazy as it sounds, because he's not really a true 5, he is more of a average defender guarding a post-up than a 5-man guarding a 1. He's more comfortable guarding Boo Buie in space than he is guarding a legit center back to the basket.
That's true.
That's just the reality with Coleman. So there's that part of it. Illinois is going to have to adjust to that. And I think they could use a little bit more wrinkles defensively. I'll give Brad a little bit of credit, although it's funny today. We'll play the sound probably tomorrow, but he's playing a little bit of zone, although don't tell him that it's zone because he apparently doesn't like that.
Matchup, huh?
He wants it to be called man with some switching and Coleman playing center field. Brad, it's 2-3 zone, okay? Anyways.
Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Exactly. I just think some more wrinkles defensively. That includes varying up their ball screen coverage, having Coleman be a guy that can blitz people, be able to trap Boo Buie off a pick and roll because Coleman's that versatile and that mobile. And then offensively, it felt like they had a good balance between what Terrence was doing well, which is downhill. Of course, Terrence, you couldn't really guard him because he was hitting jump shots at a high clip, like 41% from 3. He flashed a little bit of the mid-range game, and then obviously can go to the rim. Now that he's not making jumpers, he's 1 for 14 from 3 since coming back. You play his drive. You want him to shoot the 3, and you cheat on his drive. So with that, it's made Illinois a little bit more predictable or limited offensively. And then I think earlier in the season they had a better way about them with, all right, we're going to booty ball some, we're going to put Terrence in the pick and roll some, and we're going to just be able to have a flow about us possession to possession and then mix in transition offense too. Now it seems like the booty ball has gone a little stagnant. Terrence downhill isn't there. Teams want to take away the transition, and it's become a little more little more congested, a little more clunky, which the Big Ten tends to do to you in general, but
agree.
That's kind of what I see offensively.
Yeah, and I think Bill has a good point here, too. You don't get transition baskets off of makes, and other offenses have been better, been more efficient against you to where you don't have many chances to run as much. But that's true. Here's one thing, and then we can take a break. Like when you were talking about, Brad has been okay essentially with Coleman and that down underneath. The thing that scares you is if you get into an Elite Eight battle, let's say, which we would all be excited to be an Elite Eight, and you're going against Baycott from North Carolina. I mean, he's going to put up 40 against you. If you let him
don't double, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't double, he's going to just absolutely own that game. And like you said, as long as like Trace isn't getting 40 like he did last year, then Illinois is okay as long as that big man is getting maybe a 20. And you're right, Derek. I mean, I think that's true. I mean, Amori did it. Amori had his almost tied a career high that day for Rutgers, and you still won that game because everybody else did their thing, and you shut down everything else on Rutgers. Like Mag didn't do much, Hyatt didn't do much that game because it was your defense, excuse me, doing that. But I had this vision in my mind of, when we get into March and you all of a sudden play a team like Carolina, let's say with Baycott, I'm like, oh.
I mean, there's a lot of them out there. Yeah, I mean, a rematch with Kansas and dealing with Dickinson, they'd probably try to throw it inside a little bit more, although I'd argue Dickinson isn't the most –
right.
He's not the toughest five-man out there.
Yeah, I think he's
even if he
okay
walks into
living,
the arena with a ski mask on.
He's okay living 5 feet from the bucket.
Yeah.
And out. I mean, he'll get to the bucket, don't get me wrong, but whereas a guy like Baycott, every shot's going to be a layup.
Exactly.
Or a dunk.
Exactly.
So I don't know. That image, scary as it is, came into my head as you were saying that, and I'm like, eee.
It's something that could hurt you.
Yeah.
We're due for a break here. I do want to get Kyle to weigh in, though. Kyle, what's the difference in your mind between Illinois when they're playing at their best and the recent version of Illinois? I mean, it's obvious with Terrence, but how are you seeing things?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to figure out more than it's just you're trying to integrate this star caliber player back in, and it just seems like that chemistry that they had both when he was before suspension but also then when they didn't have him, it almost just feels like everybody else is kind of playing the same kind of tentative way that he is, trying to get him going, and it just feels like everybody's a little off and they're not in that same rhythm that they were. I don't know if it's just, I'm not trying to say it's all his fault, but I don't know. I just feel like there's and you even hear, we have a clip of Coleman and Luke that we could play next segment talking about like trying to get Terrence's confidence back. It almost feels like a team-wide effort to try and get him back into things, and it's almost taken everybody else out of what they were doing well when he wasn't there. But I don't know. Other than that, I just think, yeah, you've gotten deep into the season. Big Ten teams are scouting you more, taking advantage of matchups more, and now Illinois' got to adjust. I feel like they haven't really done that in the last couple games, and now they're going to have to, especially as they see some of these teams a second time coming up here.
And I would hope there's nobody in the party of we're better without Shannon. I hope there's nobody out there. If you want to do magical things, and look, we've had teams that we thought could do magical things and they didn't in March, but if you want to do magical things, you need Terrence Shannon playing at All-American status, like he was before this. So just in case there is a segment out there that is, like, well, I think we were better without him. No. Maybe right now getting him back into this, but you kind of persevered. You did what you needed to do to get a victory against Indiana. And the other thing I don't think we're giving enough credit, and I guarantee you Brad Underwood would start it and probably did today, is that Illinois won't have a day off for, 15 days due to these frequency of games.
Yep.
And the Big Ten is one of those where a team all of a sudden takes a week off and you won't see them play for a week. And Illinois is just right now in the midst of where they got a game tomorrow night.
They do
in Columbus. And it's like, think about it. How many times you've been here on the show? Like, they haven't had much travel and all this stuff, but all of a sudden now it's starting to happen. So, and it's like, oh, well, Pipes is gone again. Illinois, oh, that's right. They got another game. That's a quick turnaround for today, and then what? They go again Sunday, I think.
That's right.
So they'll get a little break after Ohio State.
And then so they play Ohio State Tuesday, at home against Nebraska Sunday, and they're off until the following weekend. They play at Michigan State That would be Saturday, February 10th.
There you
So
go.
all of next week, they're off, and they do get a little bit of time after tomorrow night's game in Columbus as well.
And you know what? I don't care if tomorrow night's game is 3 times uglier than Indiana. Just walk out of Columbus with a win. They are not good.
Yep.
They are not good. That team has been horrible all year. And just, I don't care how you've got to do it. Bruce Thornton went crazy against you last year at Columbus, and they won that game. Just do whatever it takes to win by 1 point if you have to, and get the hell out of Columbus with a victory.
Yeah.
Please.
Ohio State's lost 5 of 6, got annihilated by Northwestern on Saturday, 83-58.
They're bad.
They're pretty rough.
My best coach in the country.
Who?
Is he in trouble?
I think he might be. Yeah, he might be.
Juwan is gone, right, after this?
He should be gone. Everybody in the Big Ten is going to have a party if he's back.
Well, yeah, right. Well, oh, that's a whole nother conversation,
Yeah,
though. I just started.
We are due for a break. If you want to weigh in, you can. Plenty of you have. 217-359-2255 on the U of I Illini Link text line. We'll get to some of your texts as we go along. Like Kyle mentioned, we'll play some Brad Underwood, and also Coleman Hawkins. Luke Goody spoke to the media after Saturday's win against the Hoosiers, as ugly as it may be. And then let's talk some more NFL before we get out of here. We have the Super Bowl. It is San Fran against the Chiefs, part 2. Yeah, I know. But have some thoughts. Detroit blowing a big lead. Lamar not getting it done. Taylor Swift going from Japan to Vegas in a 24-hour span to make sure she's there. I'm sure you all care.
Oh, boy.
And then Mahomes is just further stacking up that resume as an all-time great. So,
he's ridiculous.
We'll get to all that, but we'll talk some more hoops as we go along here in the immediate. Stick with us for that. This is The Drive.
Thank you for choosing 2 Men in a Truck. How may I help you?
Hi, I have a strange question. What happens if it snows on moving day? I don't want my furniture to get wet and destroyed.
Well, that's not strange at all. We have the same concerns for your furniture. With over 9 million moves completed, our team is experienced to handle any weather conditions. Because we pad and stretch wrap your furniture before we put it on the truck, we'll make sure your belongings are safe and dry no matter what the forecast says.
Not sure how your move is going to work? Go to 2meninatruck.com for your free estimate.
I'm Justin Ike, co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground.
So, Justin, tell me what you see as typical when it comes to sewer repair. Give me a scenario.
Your sewer's backed up and somebody comes along and says, you need this repair for X amount of dollars. Here's my price. And you don't think to go looking for another company or a second opinion because you don't feel like you have time.
So is it possible that you might get charged a little more because it's kind of a desperate moment? Do some companies do that?
Oh, absolutely they will. They know you're in a pinch. Typically, if you call us, me or Will can be out there within an hour to look at that problem for you. Whether you call me first or you call me second, make sure you give me a call.
Anything else, Justin?
You can always trust Fred's.
Great to know. Thank you. That's Justin Ike, the co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground. If you want more information about this great 45-year family-owned company, just go to fredscu.com. That's fredscu.com.
In an ever-changing real estate market, it is so important to work with experienced agents like Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor teams at Taylor Realty Associates. They have the knowledge and expertise to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Trust the experience and success of Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor team at Taylor Realty Associates. Give them a call today at 217-355-0700 or visit them online at taylorboys.com. That's taylorboys.com.
Are you tired of shivering in the winter? Look no further than your local heroes at ABC Heating and Air Conditioning. Hi, this is Gina inviting you to give us a call at 217-352-5400 to book your appointment to make sure your furnace is run safely and efficiently this winter. We've been proudly locally owned and operated and have been serving our community for over 50 years. ABC, always be comfortable. Call me 217-352-5400 to book your appointment today or go to abcheatingandac.com.
St. Joseph Ogden FFA has their annual dinner and auction on Saturday, February 10th with the dinner at 5 p.m. then the live and silent auction at 6 p.m. No tickets are necessary and everyone in the community is welcome to attend.
Items to be auctioned off include bags of seed corn, various Milwaukee power tools, store lock toolbox, Toro mower, custom-made fire pits, solo stove, Cardinal tickets, and various gift certificates for local businesses.
For more details about the auction, check out our Facebook page at St. Just Ogden FFA.
The money raised at our event on February 10th will help support our agriculture education program and our FFA chapter. This money will be used to create an array of scholarships, state and national FFA convention registrations, and SAE grants.
We would appreciate your support of the St. Joe FFA on February 10th at 5 p.m. at the St. Joseph Ogden High School. No tickets are necessary and everyone in the community is welcome to attend. Follow us on our chapter Facebook page at St. Joseph Ogden FFA for updated info.
Since Busey Bank first opened our doors in 1868, we have built upon a tradition of close relationships and broad financial capabilities. Our experienced team provides the highest level of personalized service to ensure we accomplish your goals, simplifying your wealth management and business lending needs, and ensuring a legacy for generations. Building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
Well, we went from a probably more eye-pleasing loss at Northwestern from a fan standpoint and probably y'all's standpoint, and to a very, very ugly W. Really proud of our guys because you have to win these games. You have to find a way, and they had a unique, I think, day. If you want to talk analytics, possible points. Derek, what's it called? Points possible. That's it. If you total up all the field goals, all the threes, all the free throws in the game, we're plus 34. That probably means we didn't have great offense, but when you don't shoot threes and make them, they were 0 for. It's one of our big philosophical deals. It becomes very hard to win. I think they had 2 shots outside of 10 feet maybe that they made in a game that we didn't shoot the ball particularly well, and we didn't guard very well, to be very honest, at times. So Luke Goody, huge day. Elite. His rip drive baseline was something that will go on the film at the end of the year. But he made threes. He got some good looks. Justin was plus 24. I thought his shot, obviously, at the end was a big one. And then I thought that in a lot of ways we got Terrence going a little bit at the end. 6 rebounds. We haven't had a lot of practice time with him. He's holding the ball too much. I actually set him for a long period of time today. But, I felt really good about the way he finished the game. I ran a little play for him at the end of the game, isolation to get fouled. And then Quincy was a little off today. And, Luke was playing great, and it's a nice luxury to have that. And, I thought Marcus is, he was our Luka, so to speak. He's doing just about everything, and was a rock again. And 10 rebounds is a big day for him. And when you tell your guards to rebound, he literally takes it to personal and goes and does that. So, but ugly win, and give Indiana a lot of credit. I thought they played extremely hard on the defensive side and had something to do with us missing shots. But we'll sure take it today.
That was Brad Underwood after Saturday's 70-62 win over Indiana to improve to 15-5 on the season, 6-3 in the Big Ten standings. Wisconsin's still all alone up top. They're 8-1. They beat Michigan State in very convincing fashion on Friday night.
Now ranked 6th.
Are they number 6 in the country?
They're number 6 now.
New AP poll came out today. Purdue, where are they at?
They're 2. UConn's 1. 48 first place votes. Purdue had 14. So Purdue's 2, Wisconsin 6, Illinois the only other Big Ten team.
Northwestern didn't get in, huh?
In the top 25. No, Illinois is at 14. Is that what they were last week?
They were 10. They've been bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, right,
they were
between
14, and they were 10th. Now they're 14th again.
They're back to 14. So
yeah, Wisconsin 8-1, Purdue 8-2, Illinois and Northwestern both 6-3, and then a lot of muddled mess there in the middle.
Right. By the way, Marquette 9th now.
Okay.
And
They've
Florida,
gotten hot a little bit.
Yeah. Florida Atlantic 20th.
If you want to watch a thrilling end of a game, just turn on FAU because
Oh
they
my
will play
goodness.
to the final minute, regardless of who they're going against. Now, North Texas is a decent squad that they played this past weekend.
Yeah, beat them by 3, right?
John L. Davis hit a 3, I think, with maybe 1 second left to
They're
win.
clutch, baby.
They're
Maybe that's how good they are. The coach is like, okay, again, I want this team, North Texas, today to play with us the entire game. Let them play with us, but then we're going to learn our in-game result that we need to work on. So that's how good they are. He just works on, like, now go win it. That's what they did against.
That sounds like the Brandon Podjemski. I read a story on him right before the draft or right after he got picked, and his dad said something about Brandon used to say that he would purposely pitch into 3-2 counts when he was a pitcher because he just got bored up there on the mound and wanted to show that he could get out of a jam. And we're like, all right. Thanks, John Podjemski. Go back to your DMs.
He would have been he would have been ultra annoying if he would have gone to Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
And turned into one of those guys. You know why?
He went to Illinois, and then he still was a little annoying.
He would have played 4 years at Wisconsin for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
He would have played. He would never have come out of the lineup. He would have started all 4 years. They would have won 2 Big Ten titles with him. Yeah. Thank God he didn't go to Wisconsin.
Yeah. All right, let's get to a couple of your texts here real quick. Let's see. Kyler asked on the U of I Atlanta Link text line, did Xavier Johnson change his shot, or was his shot always that ugly? I admittedly was asking myself that same question.
It was too.
It is disgusting.
It's ugly.
Has it always been that bad, Kyle? I think it has.
That's why I was begging them, like, just send Xavier Johnson's defender to double renew and let him take that ugly shot 14 times.
If he makes 1 out of 4,
I do
great.
not care.
Was the game was tied, right, with about 50 seconds to go or so. Terrence plows into Xavier Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought it could have been
That
a
was a
charge
charge.
because he lowers that shoulder like maybe a Jerome Bettis or somebody in the hole.
There's no doubt.
Gets the foul, makes 2 free throws. Xavier Johnson goes down the other end, gets fouled by Terrence on a drive, but then he misses both, and that was essentially game. Because I do want to give credit. Justin Harmon
that
makes the
shot was
runner after
huge.
that, and then Indiana's not able to pull back within. But yeah, Xavier at the free throw line and from 3, no bueno for them. A 2-1-7 without an outstanding 5 or a true point guard. I believe the Illini are playing up to their capability.
Yeah, I mean
without Terrence.
We've seen him play higher than this, though. So
without Terrence being All-American caliber, which you know he can get to, I'd say there's obviously still room to.
There's no doubt
to grow, or return to. Some would say
you're seeing some warts, and I'd rather see those now and work through them than to appear out of nowhere.
Of course,
in March. So we're seeing the warts a little bit, and you got to work through them. And I think even Damask is understanding the booty ball stuff and trying to figure out, okay, how much is too much, how much is enough, how much or should I do more? I think there's just different things that they're all trying to figure out and work on while they integrate Shannon back into the role he needs to be, which is the best player on this team.
Tim asked on the U of I Atlanta Link text line, if Shannon is rusty a few more games, should he be moved to the 6-man role?
I had somebody ask me that Saturday, and I said no. No.
They probably not, yeah.
I mean, they're all gonna play their certain minutes, whether they start or not. No.
Indiana, I felt like he hurt you.
Yeah.
Northwestern, I don't think you win regardless, whether he plays or doesn't play or what have you. I don't think this will continue for too much longer. It could be tomorrow night. It could be the return home against Nebraska after some more practice time. Go 2 weeks from now and they're playing at East Lansing. Then you definitely have had a good amount of practice time. He's going to break out at some point.
Right.
I do wonder about the jump shot. The jump shot's a very rhythmic and like get out of your routine type of thing. But him going to the rim and defensively, he really doesn't have too big of an excuse. I don't feel like he's out of shape. I just think that he's got to sit down and be competitive and know where to be also in some like help situations. Like Anthony Leal just back cut him at one point where Shannon was ball watching. That's just something that you got to be more locked in, or just you get back into game situations like, oh yeah, people might do that to me.
He's got to get his mojo on, and it's going to take a big game.
Yeah.
And then I think we'll be fine. I think we'll all just say, okay, Terrence is back, and we'll be good to go. So I am not worried about it right now, especially if you can still fight out wins like they have with Michigan State and Rutgers. I know they lost Maryland, but the win against Indiana, and again tomorrow night, just figure out a way to win that by a point at least and move on. And eventually, Terrence is too good not to get back to what he was. I mean, he was a surefire All-American.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't. He was
best
one
players
of,
in the country were Zach Edey and Terrence Shannon.
Yeah, without
Kevin McCullough
a doubt.
was up there, but
Sure.
Yeah, it was probably those two, one and two.
So we got to get him back to that. Mark took a shot at me. Man, Mark.
You better get used to Lon, because
I know
Friday is. I'm not going to be here Friday for sure.
If Mark only knew how many times in 14 years I've dumbed myself down to make other people sound good, it's probably my best talent.
Very much a leadership.
Exactly.
And,
I take
make
one
other
for the
people
team.
better type of thing. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, you said Kyle is very perceptive. Oh, when is your next vacation, Lon? Well, I'm glad you said that. No, I'm kidding. My vacation's put on hold with the Piper child.
Sorry.
That's no. I listen. Andrew's finally playing a little bit, but yeah, no, it's good. I'm in the. I will be gone the last weekend of June. I know that.
Okay. Fair enough.
This is how bad it is.
We should probably both leave then and just call it a.
Let's call it a
week.
Let's call it a week. We got Andrew's summer baseball schedule, which is 8 weeks, usually 8 straight, but for some reason we're taking the last weekend of June. And I told my oldest, I said, hey, I want to be in a Caribbean somewhere. I want to go on one of those catamaran cruises.
It's pretty cool.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
You know, it's funny. You told me that there was like an 8-year gap between you being out of TV and then getting into radio. I had a dream over the weekend that you were a lawyer in between that time. I think it's just because of all the law stuff I've had to deal with.
Right.
Like, I saw some pictures and like you were like looking super serious in a suit. I'm like, what?
I just dabbled I just dabbled with my law license for a few years, you know. I was Better Call Saul.
Don't ask me why.
That's pretty funny. Dreams are crazy,
aren't
they?
They can be wild, man.
I dreamt last night that my oldest son never wanted to spend time with me.
Really?
So I texted him this morning. I'm like, you're an ass. Like, you never want to spend time with me. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I just put, ha. I said, I had a dream last night that you, like, avoided me at all costs. And I was just with him all day Saturday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, dreams are kind of
That's
funny.
how they go. Sometimes my wife will wake up and say, man, I hated you in my dream last night. Sorry. Am I supposed to say sorry for that?
Thank goodness I still like you.
Yeah.
You know, that's
I
fine.
hardly ever dream. I'm missing out.
Really?
I'm just one of those people that almost never dreams.
You know why? You have no stress.
Yeah, that's not true.
Well,
I
okay.
wish it was.
Life stresses. You have grade stress. I think it's a lot of it is like your mind is so occupied on so many different things. Not that, and I'm not discounting being a college kid. I can remember that, but well, kind of. But I think you just have so many. You know, when you have kids and jobs and just bills,
There's too many things that could go wrong.
Right? Yeah. There's so much that could go wrong that I think it's like
Kyle could miss a class. We're downplaying things that could go wrong for Kyle.
Kyle is not going to miss a class, nor will he
there
get
can
a
be
B.
positive dreams.
Correct. Are you straight A?
Of
course he is.
Close.
Yeah.
Well, get it going, son. Your parents didn't send you down here to get B's. Look at me. I'm like, hey, guys, just graduate. That's what I told Lucas when he went to Arizona State.
Kyle, were you in that mile-long crush line on Saturday?
I was not. I went back home this weekend.
Oh, okay.
I'd missed the game. I was bummed out, but also not because of how it played out. But
yeah, right.
I did see the line.
The line was nuts.
Was it crazy?
I probably would have showed up way too late and gotten screwed if I was here.
How many total? Well, we're way heavier.
I know.
How many total crush are in a game? Is there a number? Like 2,000?
Well, I think there's 3,000 seats.
Okay. I wasn't I know there's got to be a number of how many actual crush
I might
members.
be off on that number. I
Okay.
think that's right,
That's
though.
fine.
Muhammad listener, you just aren't remembering your dreams. It's not that you're not dreaming.
Yeah, you know why? Because he sleeps all night. He doesn't have to get up to go to the bathroom like I do. Piper's not there yet. It sucks getting old. It's weird.
The cat wakes me up in the middle of the night. It's not my trips to the bathroom.
It's
like a 5 a.m. Yeah, feed me. Let me outside.
He's like, I'm going to pounce now.
Yeah. Anyways. Due for a break. We'll talk some NFL as we go along. Get to your texts as well. 217-359-2255 on the U of I Atlanta Link text line. This is The Drive.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says,
"We'll do that on our schedule, in our time, and we'll do it in a manner of the president's choosing."
Officials say a militant group backed by Iran is responsible, but Kirby says the U.S. is not seeking a conflict with the regime.
This attack over the weekend was escalatory. Make no mistake about it. And it requires a response. Make no mistake about that. I will not get ahead of the president's decision-making.
Republicans in Congress say the Biden administration's approach to Iran is not deterring attacks carried out by its proxy groups.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The Pentagon still investigating how the drone got through air defenses and not confirming reports from U.S. officials about the attack drone arriving just as a U.S. drone was returning to that base. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says allegations against UN relief agency staffers in Gaza are highly credible and deeply troubling. Claims that remain under investigation.
Hundreds of UN staffers may have ties to Palestinian Islamic Jihad. This according to a briefing provided by the Israelis to reporters. Now, separately, in an Israeli dossier that Fox News has obtained, the Israelis lay out accusations that dozens of UN staffers aided and abetted Hamas during the October 7th terrorist attacks inside Israel. They cite specific examples.
Fox's Jillian Turner at the State Department, the head of the UN, says he's horrified by the allegations, but also concerned about aid for civilians in Gaza after a dozen countries, including the U.S., suspended aid to that UN relief agency. America is listening to Fox News.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% when you buy 68 or more panels of select OSB sheathing. Plus, save an extra 5% every day on eligible purchases when you use your Lowe's business credit card. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. 5% offer subject to credit approval. Exclusions and terms apply. See store at Lowe's.com/credit for details. U.S. only. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Border fights between the federal government and Texas ratchets up again.
Texas is not complying with the Biden administration's demands to allow Border Patrol agents back into this park. In fact, Texas State Attorney General Ken Paxton has now fired back at the Biden administration with demands and a deadline of his own.
Fox's Matt Finn in Eagle Pass, the Texas AG asking for proof of the administration's claim there's federal ownership through a previous easement. Meantime, in Congress, no border deal yet as the White House and some Republican lawmakers continue to question each other's commitment to addressing a record migrant surge. Toyota is urging the owners of 50,000 older vehicles not to drive them until they have emergency repairs on recalled airbag inflators. The same Takata inflators blamed for more than 30 deaths worldwide since 2009. The new Toyota advisory includes some Corollas, the Corolla Matrix, and RAV4s ranging from the 2003 to 2005 model years. A Los Angeles woman goes viral for what happened during a dog napping.
Video shows Ali Zacharias clinging to the hood of a white Kia Forte after she says 3 women and a man grabbed her French bulldog Onyx.
My last resort was to stand in front of the car and tell them not to go, and they drove right into me, and it pushed me onto the hood, and I just wasn't going to leave the car at that point, and I held on, and they took off.
Telling LA's Fox 11 News, the three who appear to be African American in their mid to late 20s swerved, and she rolled off.
We're not looking to press charges. All we're looking to do is recover, our baby.
Pleading for them to return the 1-year-old pup with one green and one pale blue eye. LA police are investigating the theft, one of a number of crimes targeting French bulldogs in the city. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
A record day on Wall Street ahead of this week's Fed meeting. The Dow up 224, closing at 38,333. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
It is The Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. A couple more angles I want to break down as far as Illinois and Indiana. And as we look forward with the Illini, who will do battle in Columbus tomorrow night against the Buckeyes, it is a quad one opportunity, probably your easiest one left on the schedule. You do have Iowa on the road too, which is technically a quad one as of now, but could really use that one for your tournament resume. And of course, if you're still on the note of dreaming about a Big Ten title, where are we at, by the way? I mean, it's not like Illinois is in some insurmountable hole as far as that goes. It stinks that you're 2 games back of Wisconsin. You don't expect Purdue to lose very many games left. And no, Terrence is not playing that well right now. And the bigger picture is always get into the tournament and go as far as you possibly can. But are we holding our breath? Are we still putting a lot of focus on the Big Ten title, or is that kind of on the back burner right now? What do you think?
You know me. I don't know if you'll know anybody more than me that loves to win Big Ten titles. I've just gotten it through my head, and it's almost more of Wisconsin, what they've done. But Wisconsin and Purdue play soon.
They do.
And that, I believe,
this
right?
weekend?
Sunday.
Yeah.
It's at Cole. I noticed today, Sunday, there's only 2 teams in the top 10 that aren't playing each other. Does that make sense? In other words, there's
Saturday, I think, or like the whole weekend.
The whole weekend. And it concludes with Purdue and Wisconsin, 2 versus 6. But there's 3 versus 7, 4 versus 8.
It's Kansas, Houston, Duke, North Carolina, and what's the other one? Oh, Tennessee, Kentucky is all Saturday.
Wow. And then Purdue,
Wisconsin Sunday.
On Sunday. So, look, if Purdue wins at Wisconsin, then all of a sudden, you're going to sit there and think, okay, now wait a minute. Is there a way we can get back in this thing? Because you still haven't played Wisconsin. I think you only play them once, right?
You do. In Madison, early March.
Of course. And then you still have a game against Purdue, so you're 2 games behind Wisconsin and 1.5 behind Purdue. But if Purdue can beat Wisconsin, then they're both, they'd be – never mind. Anyway, the point is it would at least give you a path. I feel like if Wisconsin beats Purdue,
right?
Until
March, until the final stretch of the season, I feel like these next 2 games for Wisconsin are the 2 toughest that they'll have.
It's amazing.
At Nebraska, and then at home against Purdue.
Yep.
Definitely need them to lose one of those. They lose in Lincoln on Thursday, and we might be changing our tune a little bit, especially if Illinois wins tomorrow night against Ohio State.
And Nebraska needs that because they're now 5-5. Teams have figured out how to guard Tominaga. That's the problem with him. That's is that they're starting to take his game away a little bit. Maryland is 5-5. I said I don't think they're as bad as we think. I think that's a pretty good team.
Yeah.
So I think we can still see them kind of climbing the ranks there. But Yeah, that's a big game, Wisconsin at Nebraska. And, man, why does it always seem like Wisconsin has the easier schedule?
It has seemed like that in recent years, hasn't it?
And I know it's not the case. I know that can't be the case.
I mean,
didn't Illinois last year?
Illinois did, and they just
we didn't take
do
advantage.
anything.
Yeah, we didn't take advantage of it. They didn't. Excuse me, professional. So
Illinois couldn't win on the road last year in Big Ten play.
No.
They only won at Nebraska and Minnesota,
Is
right?
that right? Yeah.
Sounds
and
right.
Wisconsin, I think.
Oh, they won at Wisconsin?
I think that was a Matthew
that was a
Meyer
Wisconsin
game.
team that missed the tournament last year.
Oh, yes. Because you had a fun interview with him after that game.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
That's right.
One of the many fun
Yeah,
interviews.
right.
Well, right.
Which one?
Yeah, that's a good point. But no, in my mind, Illinois is not going to.
Probably not going to win it.
No.
You'd have to imagine Illinois got to go 7-1 until March to give themselves a
Good
chance.
point. So they play Wisconsin and Purdue once each, right?
The rest of the way, yes.
So let's say they split that. That gives you 4 losses.
Okay.
You're done with Northwestern.
Yep.
You're done with Maryland.
You're at Maryland.
Oh, no. We got to go to Maryland. That's right. That's not good.
Go to Maryland. You go to Michigan State.
You've got Nebraska at home.
Nebraska at home.
You don't go to Indiana, right?
Correct.
You do go to Iowa and you do go to Michigan State, but I think those are winnable. Do we get Minnesota at home?
Yes. End of February. I can go in order for you real quick.
Yeah, why don't you? Yeah.
At Ohio State. Nebraska at home.
That's a big one at Ohio State.
At Michigan State. Michigan at home. No Doug McDaniel. At Maryland. At Penn State. Iowa at home. Minnesota at home. At Wisconsin. Purdue at home. At Iowa.
I mean, you're playing a lot of those bottom teams. There's still a chance there, I guess, then. So I haven't even thought about it, to be honest with you. And I think it's just because 2 things. Number one, the way Wisconsin sprinted out now that they're 8-1, and then Purdue is just so good. I don't know how they've lost 2 games. I just don't. I don't know how they've done it with Edey. He's such a freak. And we knew that, and I knew that. I watched him yesterday, and I'm just like, it's just automatic for him to get 26 points and 15 rebounds or whatever.
It's amazing he didn't have 30 against Illinois. He had like one of his most pedestrian games of the season against Illini.
And what did he finish with that game?
What did he have? It's like 15?
Yeah, that is pedestrian for him.
He had 10.
Wow.
10 points, 15 rebounds.
Has he doubled every game this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's effort that.
He is unbelievable.
Nebraska, when they lost, he had 15.7 rebounds.
Wow.
That was one of his few non-double doubles of late. A
Nebraska.
couple blowouts where they played a non-conference and he didn't get a double-double because they didn't need it.
Who had Rink Mast holding Zach Edey under double figures in rebounds? Who had that in their bingo card?
I don't know.
Rink Mast, pretty good player. Played at Bradley.
He's really good.
He is
Yeah.
good. He puts up. He gets results. I'll put it that way.
217 says, I don't care about the Big Ten. Get the 20-year-old monkey off your back of no second weekends.
Oh, amen to that.
Only people 53 and older care about Big Ten titles. J.K. Lon. I love that. That's great.
That's probably true.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, A.J. Storr, by the way, just had 28
Gosh,
for Wisconsin.
I mean, what a huge get for them.
He needs to go to the NBA. He'll be a massive problem if he's back.
Yeah. And he really hasn't been that crazy productive for Wisconsin, and then all of a sudden throws up 28.
They've just had good balance. Like
They've got
Klesmit's
really
had
good
games. Obviously, Wall can do it.
Crowell.
But the athleticism that he adds, and that Blackwell.
Oh, he's been unbelievable.
A really nice piece. And I feel dumb that I didn't even know who he was coming out of high school.
Well, I mean, you weren't born yet, were you?
Well, I didn't know the Blackwell that was here at Illinois. I'm saying on the recruiting trail, I didn't know
you meant
who.
because of his dad, Glenn.
Is it John Blackwell? Is that his name?
John, yeah. Glenn played in 84. When were you born?
90.
Yeah. So I thought that's where you were going. That you didn't realize. Man, how old's Glenn if he played in 84 and his kid's only now in college.
Not as old as Jim Boeheim was when his kid played in college.
I mean, of course, what am I saying? I'm going to be, Andrew's not even in college yet. I'm going to be like 55.
Let's see here.
That's probably what he is.
Glenn Blackwell.
Yeah, no, he'd be more than that. He'd be closer to 60, I would think.
His last year at Illinois was 88.
Oh, okay.
So if
So
he
he'd
was
be-
22 then.
Be 57 or 58.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. I guess he was young on that 84 team. I thought he was like, I
Yeah,
couldn't
he was
remember.
a freshman, 84, 85.
Got it.
Freshman.
I couldn't remember how that worked with Glenn, but
Now I got to
Jeez.
know, how old was Jim Boeheim when...
Oh, my goodness.
Was it Buddy the last one to play there? And there was Jimmy, there was Buddy, there was...
Buddy. A 217, Kyle just said the Cubs are not mathematically eliminated.
I don't really understand that one.
It's just giving you
Is
a
that because
shot.
the season hasn't started? Is that what they're doing?
Did he mean the Cubs are now mathematically eliminated? Because that's
possibly.
Buddy Boeheim's 24. Jim Boeheim is 103. Let's see.
He looks pretty good for that.
79.
Now that he's updated his glasses.
He was 55 when Buddy Boeheim was born.
Wow.
Good Lord.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't imagine
Who
in 2
is
years having a
Jim?
child. My Lord. A 217 said, would a win at home versus Purdue mean more than a road win at Wisconsin? I assume they mean net ranking wise, etc. You got Purdue, it could either be 1 or 2 in the country maybe then. And, man, I would think a road win at Wisconsin.
I think road wins carry
Yeah.
more weight in general.
I would think that too.
Yeah, road win, for sure.
Okay.
Unless Wisconsin takes some losses here and they're not considered in the same. Like if Purdue is a top 5 team and Wisconsin's a top 15 team, maybe you could argue that beating Purdue would mean that much more.
How
or
about
just mean more in
Wisconsin?
general.
How about they go 0-2 this week? I'm okay with that. And Illinois jumps past them in the standings.
Be tied, right?
We have 2 losses?
3.
3. Well, you'd be tied because they have 1. I'm all right with that. Go
See,
Nebraska.
that would get you talking.
That would. You're exactly right. That really would. I don't know who Purdue has before.
Purdue would need to then lose to someone they shouldn't, though,
That's
to
what I
really
mean.
make it a conversation.
I don't know who they have before they play Wisconsin.
Let's see who
Sunday.
Purdue has.
Probably.
They have Northwestern at home, the rematch.
Okay.
Oh, they will probably.
Yeah.
Northwestern's playing good basketball, but
and they've played
gonna
well
be a
against
revenge
Purdue.
factor. That's true.
At Evanston, though.
Yeah.
You know.
So they have Northwestern at home, at Wisconsin, Indiana at home, Minnesota at home, at Ohio State, Rutgers at home, at Michigan. Boy, they're not going to lose very much.
No.
I don't see them losing until they play Illinois.
Yeah.
Home against Michigan State, at Illinois, home against Wisconsin.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Illinois can only afford one more loss.
See, I would be okay with Purdue winning the Big Ten, but if Wisconsin somehow wins or ties, that's going to drive me nuts. Ugh. And they've got a pretty good – I mean –
Got a good team.
This
They
is
weren't
a-
a tournament team last year.
correct.
So part of that is frustrating.
I mean, when you look at what they returned, and then, of course, now with the addition of Storr, and you're getting what you're getting out of Blackwell and Klesmit, you can see why they're that good.
Yeah.
Because their core coming back was pretty stinking good as well. Wall, Crowell, Hepburn.
Yep. And Klesmit was part of that too.
Well,
He
yeah,
was
and
there
Klesmit.
last year.
Right. So they had a good core returning, and then you add AJ, and then, of course, Blackwell's been really good. They've got a couple of other kids that come on and play decent minutes as well. So, well, and then I forgot about
Essien.
That's it, Essien. I can't ever say his name.
He hasn't played a ton this year.
I think Klesmit has taken his minutes.
Yep.
He was hurt, but I think Klesmit's taken his minutes.
Where is
Shadow? Kyle, do you remember? No. Like, you guys are both, like, not – Derek's not old enough. Kyle's too young. to remember Bear in the Big Blue House?
Did
you watch that?
Well,
no, you would have been too old.
Probably too old, yeah. I remember that was the thing, yeah.
That would have been Lucas when he was young.
I just appreciate that you just busted out singing.
I remember at the Champaign 4th of July parade one year, they had Bear in the Big Blue House as a, what do you call that? As a
float?
Float. And I took a selfie with it. I was like, yeah, there's Bear.
You want to hear some Brad Underwood?
Let's do. Yeah, instead of me singing Bear in the Big Blue House, if I even got that right, yes, I would rather hear Brad.
Real quick, Bill says Illinois isn't winning the Big Ten. Illinois has 2 wins against good teams.
That's fair.
I mean, that second part is definitely fair.
Yeah. Agree.
Well, I think Northwestern's decent, so
yeah,
smacking them by 30 on their home floor, decent win for sure.
I'll take that. We need to pay Maryland back.
Definitely need that
on the road.
Yep. All right, let's get to a little bit of Brad Underwood before we catch a break here. Here's Brad from Saturday after the win against the Hoosiers.
Brad, you seem to get a lot of, offensive rebounds, a big part of what you do, but it seemed to be in spurts today. When you made your runs, you were attacking the offensive glass, and other times guys were just standing and watching. How do you get them to do that for 40 minutes?
Practice. Put them on the treadmill. It's just one of those deals. We emphasize it. We work on it. We have a drill we do every single day. I think it shows our aggressiveness. I thought our aggressiveness today guarding the basketball was as bad as we've had. I just thought we were passive today, but we did turn it up at times, and it obviously was. Draven Gibbs hit a big 3. Coleman got a big tip in and one. We can't be selective when we go. If we're starting to do that, then we're setting ourselves up.
Brad, I know you wanted him to rebound more, and Terrence got those at the end, hits his free throws. But what'd you see before that? Like, how do you feel like he's acclimating back? Because Luke
slowly.
Yeah,
to be very honest, slowly. But I thought it's really hard. You guys have no idea who never played. It's so hard you can't be out a month, and it's so hard. And we were. The flow offensively, we've got to find. We've got to have a great dummy day here the next day or two, where he's not holding the ball. Terrence, when he's effective, is driving it. That sets up his 3, and we're holding the ball too long. We're just holding the ball. He's holding it too much, and we've got to help him there. We got to help. But I felt like late, he was emotionally in the right place, and that's the most important thing. I thought he was tough. He wanted the ball. He wanted to make free throws, and that was good.
Coleman talked about maybe just leaning into defense and rebounding when the offense is not what you want. But what's the challenge in not letting maybe shots not falling trickle into the other
it's
side?
mental. We all have feel good moments, right? You guys all write about the guy who scores, right? It's the lead is big. Domask was double leads. Am I calling the title right? It's all about scoring. No one's going to lead the fact that somebody's had 5 steals. I haven't seen that column yet. So it's a feel good thing for them when they make a basket and the crowd cheers and everybody goes up. It's not like that on the defensive side. Defense is guts and grit, fight, and all the nasty stuff that nobody wants to talk about. And we've had that most of the year, and we had it at times today. But that's got to become that's our standard. That's who we are, and we got to start doing that. But we're in the middle of 16 days in a row.
Coach, correct me if I'm wrong. It seemed like the plan on Renault was to dig with the wings and the guards on him. Did they execute that the way you wanted? And was there consideration to doubling him?
No, we won because we didn't give him threes. And Baco's leading the league in threes, 3-point percentage. And what we wanted to do was give him different looks. And Coleman's really, really good. He got up 12 attempts. That's it, 12. And we're really good with that. Where I didn't think we did a very good job today was when he did miss. We gave up some second chance opportunities. So the game is imperfect, you're going to give up something. These guys are really, really good players. And so you play the percentages, you play the odds, and that's what our stuff's based on.
Yes. Brad, Ty was really effective in the first half, only got 5 minutes in the second half. Is that kind of like you said Justin Harmon was plus 24, you're trying to work TJ back into it, or is some combination?
We set him a long time. We set TJ a long time as well. And again, it's a feel thing. Justin was being effective. He was creating some havoc on the defensive side. Luke was playing really, really good. We had a combination of guys out there that caused them some problems on the defensive side because of spacing. And again, I guess that's a nice thing of having some depth. I love what Ty's doing, and probably had an opportunity to go back to him a little bit early and give Marcus a blow, but again, there was some ebb and flow and timeouts that I felt pretty good about Marcus.
Brad, how do you balance the scouting report initially with what a team is doing on a current day or night? Like Indiana goes 0 for 9 from 3, but I'm sure you didn't tell them they can't make it, going in.
We set goals every game of what we want to do based on their personnel and how we're scheming of what we want what we want that game to look like. Today was three or fewer threes. It's pretty unrealistic to think you're going to get 0 in a 40-minute college basketball game. It's really, really hard to do. I think we did it. We do it against Michigan. Michigan State, I think, last year. That's what we do, okay? And so we don't set out to be perfect at it because we know it's an imperfect game, but we set out with goals and ideas. We talk about those things, and those are focal points for our guys to worry about.
Brad, so you spoke about the big three-pointer that Draven hit. Obviously, he gave a good spark there in the second half. What was your message to him after the game?
I love you, because he works hard every day. He's the other team's best player most days. And believe me, when we have him and Sincere at the guard spots on the scout team, talk about freakishly athletic, and Buck's getting really good and working really hard. But it's very hard to do what Draven's done and keep his confidence. He is an extremely positive young man. He is an extremely hard worker. He's in there every day with Chester and TA and our coaches, working, getting his shots up. And a day like today goes a long way for my confidence in what he does. And then he guarded the ball, and he guarded it without fouling.
Brad, you mentioned maybe not having the toughness at the point of attack defensively. Who are you looking to get some more bite there?
Every one of them. We talked all night, Derek, about ball pressure, just simply ball pressure, throwing the ball into Malik. We were 3 feet off of him. And when there's a low post man, there's nowhere to drive. And yeah, we're just soft. We were just soft on the ball, and that's not good. That's not who we are. It's not what we've been. And we had I think X drove the ball baseline in front of their bench. We just stood outside the paint on the other side and didn't rotate. We haven't done that all year. And it was Terrence, and I think in that moment. But we got to rotate. And those are things that can't happen. Those are mistakes that can't happen.
You mentioned Luke's three-point play, maybe the old-fashioned way being a highlight at the end of the year. Can he do that more, or do you see? I mean, he talked about his value of just making shots, jump shots, but where do you kind of see his approach there?
Well, Luke's got a tremendous shot fake. I mean, and we work a lot with shot fake sidestep for a 3, and yet Luke's quietly got a really good, hard to guard post game because he can fade away and shoot it, and he can shoot it off balance. His dribble drive game's not what I would call exceptional. It's probably a little better than yours, but it was the right play at the right time, and the seas parted, and he shot a layup.
Hi, I'm Tyler Weaver, president of Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery. Take a look around your home. Is it finally ready for some much-needed updates? If you don't know where to start, then just meet with one of our experts. We'll help you find the perfect waterproof plank floor for your kitchen or that stain-resistant, super soft carpet for your bedroom. Finish your room update with a custom sofa and chairs, or choose a trendy in-stock dining set that's priced right. Come home to Carpet Weavers, where floors, furniture, and family meet.
As Tapman's Towing celebrates 50 years of serving Central Illinois, we're always seeking good people to serve our great customers. Our team of expert tow professionals would like to interview others with CDLs, previous tow experience, or a strong interest in serving others. If you enjoy serving people, love working in the outdoors, and looking for a career, not just a job, we should talk soon. Do you have a strong desire but lack the experience? We should still talk. Visit our career page at tapmanstowing.com.
Hi, this is Amanda Jean, the founder and planner of Inspire Your Wedding and Events. After the big yes, are you daydreaming about the big I do? Join us for premier, interactive, immersive, inspirational wedding showcase to bring together vendors and couples from all over Central Illinois for your big day. Come away with ideas and vendors that will make your wedding one of the most inspiring days of your life.
Save the date on Saturday, March 23rd at the historical and unforgettable Orpheum in downtown Champaign.
For complete details, visit inspireyour.com. That's inspireyour.com.
Valentine's Day is always beautiful at Merle Norman. Whether you're hosting a Galentine's brunch or have a date night planned with your person, Merle Norman has your color covered. Stop by for a new red gloss or grab your bestie to book a makeup appointment. Or enjoy the beauty consultants yourself. You can find the Valentine's look you're going for, from sweet to smoldering to super spicy. Merle Norman, 706 West Market View Drive in Champaign.
Relax. Call back 217-359-7293.
Champaign County Sheriff's Deputy Alex James, our Law Enforcement Official of the Month, brought to you by MX Electric.
Yes.
Well, how do you get the Unity High School Resource Officer with the kids every day, and why do you love that?
I came from Moreau Forsyth. At Moreau, I grew up with a school resource officer there. Still today, him and I are really good friends, and I just thought he was the coolest guy ever. Whenever this position opened up, I was like, you know what? That would be really cool to do.
Because you admired a resource officer.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you might be having the same impact on kids today.
Exactly. So when I came to the sheriff's office, I saw it was a position available that we do. Being an SRO, I stepped in this position, thinking of the times when I was a kid, and it fulfills everything I imagined.
Awesome.
It is so cool.
Relax. Call back 217-359-7293.
Get ready for the 8th annual Champaign-Urbana Area Restaurant Week. Over 9 days, we will eat our hearts out at local restaurants that span the world. Make your reservations early or get out anytime during a restaurant's open hours from January 26th through February 3rd. Don't forget to share your pictures and experience with hashtag CU Restaurant Week for a chance to win a $100 gift card to your Champaign-Urbana Area restaurant of choice. For more information on this exciting upcoming event, visit experiencecu.org.
Get ready for the 23rd Annual Best in Show Photographic Print Competition from Urbana Park District and the Champaign County Camera Club. Photo entries displayed at Lincoln Square Mall February 10th through the 25th. Enter the competition before January 24th at the cost of $5 for the first print and $3 for each additional print. After January 24th, it's $10 for the first print and $3 for each additional print. Kids 17 and under can enter free. There's 9 different categories. Learn more at urbanaparks.org.
Oh yeah, tax time. As you file your tax return, Busey wants you to be aware of identity thieves who could be scheming to steal the refund. Tax identity theft has been one of the most common forms of identity theft the past 6 years. And in observance of Tax Identity Theft Awareness Week, which is from today, January 29th through February 2nd, Busey's team of experts provides steps to protect yourself this season. File early, we've mentioned that before. Secure Wi-Fi connection, shred sensitive documents. Secure your tax return by mailing it at a post office or an official mailbox instead of letting it just sit at your home. And avoid scammer schemes. The IRS will never contact you by email, text, or social media. If they need your information, they contact you by mail. Remember, the best way to protect yourself from fraud is to be proactive. Busey wants you to be informed of any security issues, scams, or alerts that may compromise your personal or financial information. Visit the Money Matter blog on Busey.com or call 1-800-67-BUSEY today. I nailed that, Cliff. Member FDIC. I'm a member.
All right, guys.
Is today the leap day or whatever?
Oh, for leap year?
Yeah.
Isn't that the end of
Oh,
February?
no, it's the end of February.
Yeah,
That's
February
right.
29th.
February 29th.
You're right.
My bad, because January's got 31 days long.
As we take the leap
Just
into
learned that.
this next segment, let's talk about the music that this league represents. The G League. Quick question, guys.
Okay.
What team does Matthew Meyer currently play for? I just told you, like,
I know.
10 seconds ago.
I know. It's
The
some.
Rio Grande Valley Vipers.
That's right. That's right.
I think it's Grand.
Grand.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
add the E. There
Not,
again,
Nacho
I thought
Grande
it was.
at Taco Bell.
I thought it was Monte Verde, but it's Mont Verde, right? Yeah.
Oh, Georgie Bashanishvili, also still in the G League.
Is he really?
He's on the Iowa Wolves.
Oh my!
They got quite a roster. It includes Georgie, includes Nogel Eastern, it includes DJ Carton, Ohio State.
Yeah.
It includes Luca Garza.
Oh my!
And Lance Stevenson, Mr. Necktat himself.
Yeah, we need to have Georgie on and ask him what it's like to have played with Kofi, who owned. Well, no, he didn't own Luca.
He ended up winning the latter
Yeah.
portions of that series.
That was
but
a
early
pretty good
on, it was
battle.
Luca, and then
Yeah.
Kofi.
And then
got it
now
done.
playing with Garza, we need to ask him what that's like.
I know.
'Cause
Real
you
quick.
know him; he'll offer.
Oh, he'll say what he thinks for sure. Trent Frazier's still in Russia. Kofi in South Korea. Is that right, Kyle?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sorry, we researched that during the break. I just
that's
wanted to
cool.
get that out to the public.
That's awesome. Russia.
Yep.
That would be. I don't know. Not sure I'd want to be in Russia. Like I'm picturing the coldest day in Illinois, and that's the warmest day in Russia. Maybe not. Maybe not.
You got to wear those real furry caps.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. There's no natural segue to go from Russia to the NFL, but we're going to do it. Kansas City Chiefs on the road, 4.5-point underdogs. That line just kept ticking up and up and up. I know we've done some promotional stuff with Circus Sportsbook. I saw one of their spokespeople on Twitter yesterday talking about we need all the Chiefs money we can get right now because they were so stacked up with Ravens bettors that they wanted people to come in and bet the Chiefs. But
well, we're gonna
Patrick
have
Mahomes.
We're gonna have that gentleman on soon
are
from
we?
Circa. Yeah.
Sweet, nice.
I'm excited about that.
Patrick Mahomes potentially, definitely a all-time great. Potentially going to bring himself into the realm of Tom Brady one day.
Yes.
First two, just right off the bat, touchdown. Was it the first two drives they scored touchdowns?
I believe. Yeah. Because Baltimore answered.
Baltimore did answer.
And then Kansas City went right back on top.
With a 16-play drive, it seemed like.
And then they went for it on fourth instead of kicking the field goal.
That's right.
And then ended up kicking a field goal before half. Butker hit like a 52-yarder.
Yep.
I mean, they're even good at kicker.
Butker is really good. You're right. They could have taken a 2-possession lead, but ultimately went for it and didn't get it.
I was shocked that they didn't go for the 17-7 lead early. The first one. The first time.
And that was right after a sack fumble. Strip
That's
sack
right.
for the Chiefs. Their defense played well.
They did. They're good. I didn't realize they were like third in the NFL defensively. That's the thing that you don't even think about.
And that's the thing with the Chiefs. They've played like possum all year.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it was just them purposely taking games off and not playing that well, but it's looked like the weakest Chiefs team we've seen in the last 6 years.
Yes.
And here they are. They go on the road and beat Buffalo. They beat the Ravens on the road. And even though they don't have, I wouldn't say they have no receivers because Rashee Rice looks like he's pretty darn good. Second-round pick.
Well, and Kelsey is just...
Yeah. That back shoulder was a Hall of Fame connection. That throw
big time
for the first touchdown, that back shoulder throw, was a Hall of Fame quarterback to a Hall of Fame tight end.
Yep.
We saw that for many years with Brady and Gronk, and just it's a situation where in hindsight it's like, I can't believe on Friday picked the Ravens. I can't believe I doubted Patrick Mahomes against a guy who's far less proven than Lamar Jackson and still has that monkey on his back. He didn't play all that great.
No, he
Not saying
didn't.
he was terrible, but
they didn't look like they didn't get going at all.
Right.
They didn't use the ground game like I thought they would. I think Mark Andrews being hurt hurts them. He's not Travis Kelce, but he's pretty stinking good.
For sure.
And means a lot to Lamar like Kelce does to Mahomes. Isn't it amazing how well Kansas City is drafted? I would love to read an article, and I'm sure it's out there on Google, to read an article on how you should put together an NFL team if you already have a good quarterback. So they have Patrick Mahomes, and I'm sure they're paying him he's past his rookie contract, so
Yes.
I don't know what he's making, but it should be the most. Probably isn't, is the funny part. And then
it's an insane number. It's going to start.
They have to, right?
Cashing in here soon.
They
It's
pay
10-year, 40.
Is that right?
$45 million a year.
Okay. Pacheco has become a really good running back for them. They've got him and Clyde Edwards or Allaire or whatever.
Drexler, yep.
You've got that. I mean, it's just, I'd love to see how their and I know I can go in and look, but how their breakdown is to understand, like, let's say the Bears. Okay, let's say you take Caleb and he turns into a little bit of a Patrick Mahomes in the future. Mm-hmm. How do you go about piecing together where you put your money and where you don't? And, of course, if you don't hit on the draft, I don't care how much money you throw at things, but if you've got a really good quarterback that you're paying big money to, you better hit in the draft.
Right. Here's a great example. They drafted Tyreek Hill in the 5th round.
Oh.
Can you imagine that?
No.
The Bears took Velus Jones in like the 3rd round. He can't even catch the ball. He can't even do like punt returns.
Rondale Moore.
Yeah.
Rondale Moore has been he hadn't been terrible, but like, did you think when Rondale Moore was in college that he would be a little like Tyreek Hill?
Yeah. Slot receiver guy that
couldn't stay healthy for a long time, and now he's just unproductive. Dang it. You and I can match any good with bad.
I know. It's also oh, by the way, they have Andy Reid.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. I think a tight end too is just so crucial. I mean, you look at Kelce and Kittle, right? You look at two guys that are. I know Kittle is probably on the downstretch now, but I mean, those two are two of the best tight ends in football, and I don't think it's an accident that these two teams.
Sure.
Thanks to them, not solely, but obviously a big thanks to them.
It can be such a separator if you just have an average tight end versus having like a superstar. I mean, that people know that in fantasy,
right?
Obviously,
there's 5 tight ends. Trey McBride for Arizona has kind of moved into that probably fifth spot. He's pretty dang good.
Yep.
But that's it. After that, you're hoping that what's his face from the Falcons,
Kyle Pitts,
can redo his rookie year, but he hadn't done it since. But you got to have somebody to throw to him too.
I know.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, we went through Mahomes' stats in the playoffs going into this game. Now I think in like 17 postseason games, he's 14-3.
I mean, he's
like 40 touchdowns to 7 picks. And Lamar is like 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Yeah. I agree with you that I thought they were going to run the ball more with him, just get that running game going. But like you said, the pressure entirely. You had the juiced up stadium. You have Ray Lewis come out and do the dance that maybe is the coolest dance that's ever been done in football. And then it's like, all right, this place is on fire. But then they go 3 and out. Mahomes scores, and all the weight of the pressure of you haven't won big in the playoffs is right on Lamar.
Yep.
And they did make a spectacular. He avoids that sack and throws the touchdown. Like, all right, we're gonna have a good game here. But then things went super stagnant in the second half. Like even the Chiefs offensively, maybe had 100 yards in the second half of offense. Just Baltimore kept shooting itself in the foot.
Yep.
The big fumble. I mean, we're definitely talking about a different game if Zay Flowers crosses the end zone with the ball, cuts it to 17-14.
Yep.
And things could have been different. And then there was just so many penalties.
It was
The
ugly.
Flowers standing over the guy for the taunting. You had the roughing the passer. You had the you just had a number of different things.
I agree. I don't know. I would hate playing against Patrick Mahomes knowing that if he goes down and scores a touchdown or gets a field goal, you're done.
Right.
Or if you're up 7 with, he showed it last year, didn't he, against Buffalo or whenever during the regular season, I guess, right? That game was. No, that was a playoff game, wasn't it? It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's just, it doesn't matter how much time's left. It doesn't matter what the situation is. Mahomes is going to make a winning play, and you just said it. He's won 14 out of 17 playoff games against the best teams in football, because when you're in the playoffs, guess what? You're playing the other best teams.
I know.
And he's 14-3, or is he 15-3 now? I was thinking you said 14 going into that.
15 now, I think.
15-3. So 18 times he's taken the field, and 15 times he's walked away winning.
It's 14-3 right now.
Oh, 14-3.
Yep.
He's so good.
39 touchdowns, 7 picks. QB rating of 106.3.
Wow.
Yeah. Super Bowl in 4 of the last 5 years. Is that right? Or yeah.
I'm not good at that stuff. Okay.
And I think he just accomplished something that Tom Brady, through his illustrious career, only did once, which is win multiple road playoff games to get to a Super Bowl. Now, of course, when you're not playing road football games in the playoffs, it's because you've had a tremendous regular season.
Right.
But this is one of those years that only like a great guy, a great player, a great team like Mahomes could accomplish the whole, like, we didn't have a great regular season and we're in the Super Bowl. I feel like Brady had a few of those with New England. Like, you could maybe poke some holes in them, or they didn't finish the season all that strong. Like, surely this won't be the year.
Right.
And then it was.
And of course,
LeBron had those years in
Yep.
the NBA of when he had that long run of getting to the finals. Anyways.
That's a good point.
The Chiefs are back. Let's talk about the Lions and the Niners. Collapse for Detroit, who played about as fantastic of a first half as you possibly imagine. Their offensive weapons shining. They're running the football on the
Running it
Niners.
well.
They had the reverse to Jameson Williams that broke the first touchdown. Montgomery gets in. Jahmyr Gibbs gets in. And Purdy, who didn't play well in the week prior against Green Bay, and even didn't he throw a pick in the first half?
I believe.
Or maybe he didn't.
Is that right? Why can't I think of that? I don't know.
Anyways.
Yeah.
They collapsed in the second half. You had decisions on whether to kick field goals or not, and time management on the last drive where they called a timeout and burned it, needed the onside kick. Dan Campbell got in his own way too much. That burned them, but of course then also just a fumble by, was it Gibbs that had a big fumble?
Mm-hmm.
Some dropped passes. Hate it for Detroit because, like you said earlier in the show, they've been in that group of teams that have just had such a pain, a long history of pain, and they should have maybe gone to the Super Bowl by closing out yesterday.
I mean, I'm happy for their fans to get this far, but they've never been to a Super Bowl. And to sit there and have, what was the lead, 28-7 or something?
It was 24-7 at half.
24-7. To have that lead at half, imagine sitting there as a Lions fan thinking you're finally going to break through. And then you don't. And I don't know. It was just, I don't know. I became a Lions fan because I understand how their fans feel. So I share the pain of drop passes, the fumble, just all of that. By the way, real quick to move back to Baltimore, did you see the play where Lamar threw it, it was tipped, he caught it, and went for like 15?
That play and the off-the-face mask
of
the Lions guy for an Ayuk touchdown, I think he might have got ruled down right before touchdown, one of McCaffrey's 3. Those were 2 of the craziest plays probably you've seen all year.
It's just unbelievable. And go back, like, you look at the Niners and what they've done. Like Brock Purdy, well, they said last night was the first time, right, maybe in the playoffs, that a guy selected number 1, Jared Goff, went against a quarterback selected the last pick.
Yeah.
Which is Mr. Irrelevant. And now Brock Purdy turns into one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, that alone right there. The fact that they traded 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance and somehow in the end smelled like roses because some dude out of Iowa State. That right there just blows my mind. You don't have to go any further. How much did they give up for Christian McCaffrey? And why didn't other teams try hard or harder to get him? I remember when they picked him up, it was like week 7 or week 6, I think is the trade deadline. And I was like, that's all they gave up? Maybe they gave up
a second, a third, a fourth in 23 and a fifth in 24. What in the world?
So let me ask you, so they gave up 4 picks for McCaffrey.
None in the first round.
None in the first round. And they gave up 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance, who's not even on the team. And yet somehow, here the Niners are in the Super Bowl. How the hell does that happen? I don't know. I remember the year the Cardinals drafted 1 and took Kyler, and San Francisco drafted 2 and took the defensive end.
Bosa?
Yeah.
That's on that note, they drafted Kittle, they drafted Bosa,
Yep.
they drafted Deebo Samuel.
I mean, Ayuk, was he?
He was a Patriot, right?
Oh, is that right? Okay. I don't know.
I think the Niners drafted him.
Did they?
That was N'Keal Harry. That was a Patriot who also went to Arizona State.
Yeah, he
I
did.
think.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Gotcha.
It's just everything. But you
Good call,
can't
Kyle.
you can't say everything's worked out because the Trey Lance deal went as bad as you can to bury your franchise for 5 years.
Yep.
And somehow they got better. Because a kid from Iowa State has turned out to be aw shucks.
Yeah, and they finally moved off of Jimmy G at the right time.
That's right, they did.
And really, they win. I don't know if it's completely accurate to say in spite of their quarterback play. Like Brock Purdy was in the MVP race until the very end this year, but
huge numbers.
You see what Jimmy was after leaving the night. I mean, he lost the Oakland Raiders job to Aiden O'Connell.
That's a great point.
And Purdy's had his struggles. He's almost knocked them out.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely last week against the Packers, but didn't play great. It didn't get going until the second half of this one.
Has there been a team win 2? I mean, that win over the Packers was ugly. I think everybody would tell you Green Bay they outplayed San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then last night, Detroit is up 24-3 at half. Oh, man. I don't know. And if I sound like a baby whining, I am. I'm totally a baby right now whining. I just don't get it. I don't understand the good fortunes that happen to certain franchises. I mean, San Francisco my whole life has been, they had Joe Montana, they had Steve Young, they had Jerry Rice, on and on and on and on. Alex Smith was a pretty good quarterback. And then now you got Brock Purdy, and you're going to play in the Super Bowl. Is this the second straight year they're in the Super Bowl?
No, they were in the Super Bowl 2020 against the Chiefs.
Oh, so it's been
and that was Jimmy G.
Okay.
Against
gosh, those poor
Mahomes.
Niners fans.
Was that Mahomes' first one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hate it. They've had to wait on 4 years
to
get back to that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kyle, what say you?
Kyle, have the Dolphins ever been in the Super Bowl in your lifetime?
They haven't won a playoff game in my lifetime, let alone gone to the Super Bowl.
Now, Derek and I both...
I'd settle for one playoff win.
Wow. Derek and I have both been to the Super Bowl in our lifetime, but we didn't win.
Yes.
Okay.
You actually went. I watched my team go.
Well, right.
But yes, our teams have gone.
They were at the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yes. And it was thrilling for the opening kickoff. And
was that Kelvin Hayden?
Well, opening kickoff was Devin Hester.
Oh, that's right. No, I'm sorry.
To the house. But then, yeah, you
Is
had
that the
Kelvin
Hayden
Hayden
game?
to the house and losing to Tom Brady in the rain in Miami.
That was Cutler, right?
It was Rex Grossman.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you.
A 217 asked the recurring question for the Bears, and I want to ask you guys before we get out of here if yesterday's results framed mind or maybe should frame mine a certain way on this because people are talking about it. Let's get to that next As we wrap up the show, this is The Drive.
Beginning to fall, it's time to make sure those furnaces are in great running order. Get that furnace tuned up so it doesn't let you down on the cold nights. Dogtown is the People's Choice #1 HVAC company again in 2023. Ask about the current 0% financing offer on all Lennox high comfort systems and single component units for qualifying applicants. The number's 217-841-4728. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend.
Accumulation, preservation, generation. At Busey Bank, these are the principles we use to build meaningful financial partnerships with our clients and their families. With sound advice and vast resources, partner with Busey for a personalized approach to your legacy. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
Mom, she won't stop touching me. Broccoli stinks.
Guys, no phones at the table.
Family dinner time? Not easy. But you know what is easy? OSF On-Call Urgent Care. When you need convenient, affordable care for minor illnesses and injuries, you need OSF On-Call Urgent Care. Be seen in person or connect 24/7 online when and where you need it. Learn more at osfoncall.org/urgent care.
A tradition of excellence over 150 years in the making. At Busey Bank, we're committed to building relationships that span generations. Wherever your journey in life leads you, we are with you along the way, creating a legacy for you and your family. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868, proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club?
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Reekin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free